Welcome to the Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. And please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have not become a member of the channel yet, please go to the description, scroll to the bottom. There are varying levels of support, and we accept it all. But today I got a very special show. I got my man Najeh Wilkins and my man Arvon Bacon, two of the youngest guns in Atlanta. They know everything about high school recruiting in it. I thought I knew something about recruiting in Atlanta, but these guys are boots in the ground. I guess I passed the torch to them. And then we talking about a very special game for the Colorado Buffalo fans. The first game of the season is against Georgia Tech. And these two guys cover Georgia Tech for a living. So why not have a Georgia Tech versus Colorado breakdown where I'll share some information with them about what Colorado has coming to the table, and they can let us know about what Georgia Tech is bringing to the table. We're going to do a position by position breakdown. Guys, what's going on?
What poppin'?
Brother, how you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. Excited to have y'all on, man. It's way overdue. I'm glad we can get in here and get to some work. Before we even get started, let's start with Najeh. Najeh, just tell people about yourself and what you got going on.
Yes, sir, man. So I'm Najeh Wilkins, man. Obviously, Formula Score Atlanta, man. I used to do work for them, TV hosting, obviously color commentary, play-by-play. I hosted Georgia High School Sports Daily, obviously a high school show that chronicled all the sports. I cover Georgia High, or not Georgia. Well, I do cover Georgia High School recruiting. I've covered different names. One of my biggest ones so far been Tay Harris, him flipping to Georgia Tech. I had to break and scoop on that. So obviously I'm in good with Tech. I also cover Georgia. Also cover obviously South Carolina and Tennessee. You guys can see all my articles on there. But yeah, man, I'm excited, man. I've been covering it for a while. It's been a lot of fun.
Arvon Bacon, how about you, my brother?
For sure, for sure. Buff fans, allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm sure you saw the post with Roddy, man. So I'm in the Newton area, multimedia journalist, videographer. I like to hang my hat on, just capturing moments with athletes that tell their stories authentically. So I've helped and talked to Big Pritchett, who's now at I think Oklahoma. Elijah Pritchett, Ronnie Colton, her twins just committed to Georgia Tech, and many others. But just on here, just ready to chop it up and get y'all some game. So thanks to Duke for allowing me to come on. So ready to get into the fun for sure.
All right. So the most important, I think, for Colorado, the position that's going to really, I guess, that we always say the straw that stirs the drink is the quarterback position. Colorado has Caden Salter and Julian Lewis, and they are now embroiled in a fiery battle, highly competitive, not combative. That came straight from the mouth of DJ McKinney. So let's talk about what Georgia Tech has at quarterback. Either one of you guys or both of you guys can speak on it. But tell us as a whole, what should people be looking for from Georgia Tech at the quarterback position?
Georgia Tech's loaded, man. Obviously, they got Haynes King. Haynes King's gotten a lot of love this offseason. Josh Pate is obviously a name that has talked very highly of Georgia Tech because of him. You go back and look at that game against Georgia, 8 overtimes. They was whooping up on them early into the game, but grit, competitor, fierce, and when you have that at quarterback position, that only helps you in terms of your leadership of your group, man. So this is a guy that turned over the ball a lot in 2023. That number came down significantly in 2024. Only 2 interceptions, protected the ball a lot, dual threat. Has only gotten better and better over the course of his career, and I feel like this is a big season for him where he can easily elevate his draft stock. So Haynes King is a guy I think has a lot of potential, and the guy that's been there, done that, and I think he's going to be very important to Georgia Tech's success this year.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of guys that's been kind of mid on Haynes King, but Haynes King is probably top 2, right behind Cade Klubnik in the ACC. Should be a lot higher QB rankings nationally, but doesn't get the love, obviously. Over 2,400 yards, I think 10 to 14 touchdowns, and didn't even play the whole season. The brother's a dual threat quarterback. He's got the heart of a lion, man. You talk about a guy who can lead the locker room. That's what he is. So he's gonna continue to shock, in the college football world this upcoming season for sure.
Question for you, Deuces, well, real quick to Colorado. Just what's your thoughts on that battle? I know you just talked about it, but are you any concerns? Because Coach Prime said it obviously at Big 12 Media Days, it's open competition, still trying to figure that part out. Any concerns there at QB, or do you feel pretty good about whoever's going to be that guy?
Yeah, I feel good about whoever's going to whoever emerges victorious in that battle. I think there's a world where both guys play regardless of who goes out there first. I think right now you have a quarterback 1 and 1A. I think I think Coach Prime made a really, really big decision and made a big statement by inviting both to Big 12 Media Days. One, you have somebody like Caden Salter, who's one of the only guys, maybe the only guy in college football who currently owns a 3,000-yard passing season and a 1,000-yard rushing season while at Liberty. And also having a guy like Julian Lewis, who may be the only 17-year-old quarterback that we've ever seen at a Big 12 Media Day. So with that being said, you have two really, really, and you guys know everything it is to know about Juju Lewis, the type of player he is, uh, the moxie, being a cerebral assassin, and being able to make all the throws. So there's never been a stage that's been too big for him, and I don't think this would be any different. So I think when you have someone like a Caden Salter, who was the cream of the crop in the portal, I don't think you got. I mean, after John Mateer, I think he was clearly like the top quarterback in the portal. After that, it's just take your pick. I mean, Caden Salter was just as good as anybody else in the portal. So I think that having two guys or two options as good as those two guys gives Colorado a chance to play with anybody in the country. Um, Another question I wanted to ask you guys was, what about Aaron Follow? So I was doing some research on Julian Lewis, and I was going down and I'm looking at, the all-time state record holders when it comes to passing in the state of Georgia. Aaron Follow maybe what, number 7, number 6? I mean, if he's not, he's top 7, I believe. And did some amazing things in high school. He had a pretty good year last year too in some spot duty. Tell me a little bit about Aaron Follow, and why isn't this more of a quarterback battle based off the type of quarterback he is?
Great point. Obviously, at the time, he ended up breaking that record for most passing yards in the state of Georgia. But obviously, as you know, it's an air raid attack now, so that number gets passed. But, Follows a dude, man. I mean, last year, I'll go and give you an even deeper context. Haynes King gets hurt, right? AC shoulder joint sprain. Follow has to come in and kind of relieve him, and he did a really good job, right? And stepped in for him, won them games. I'll go back to that drive. He just has that it factor. That's it with Follow. Here's the it factor. They are down. CJ Bailey goes down the field. They score. Here comes Follow. He goes. He runs it in for the game-winning score, obviously, and lifts them past NC State in the game they could have easily lost. So the reason why it's not a battle is King is established. King, when he's winning, they're 5-2. When he's playing the games, he's 5-2. But basically, the heir apparent is Follow. Follow's going to be the quarterback next year, as long as he doesn't go anywhere, right? So obviously, he got a redshirt year. He's going to be next in line for them to start. But they feel really good about King, his senior season, and they feel like he does everything they need him to do.
You guys didn't add, Arvon?
Yeah, I'm just going to add on to that. I mean, Najeh covered everything thoroughly, but I don't think they have ruled out a possibility of seeing both. So I will throw that in there. So Follow is next up, but he could see both oscillate drives a little bit this upcoming season as well.
All right, that's good to know. And speaking of both, when you have a running back room that you can attack from multiple angles, when you have a running back room where you have certain guys who do certain things, and then you have guys who do a lot of things well, but when you're able to hit people with multiple people in the attack, it's always tough to deal with. Can you talk about Georgia Tech's running attack? Because we know who the guy is, but who else is in that room that could get carries that could really be a spark plug in this game?
This is the deepest running back room they've had in Brent Key's, obviously, coaching era there at Georgia Tech. He said that even himself in the spring game and obviously during the spring practices, right? Jamal Haynes come out on record and said it. They went out in the portal, and they obviously got UPenn's running back, Malachi Hosley, rushed for over 1,000 yards, started at Northside Columbus, right? Did his thing there, comes down to Georgia Tech. He's expected to be the number 2. But boy, even after number 2, they got guys. Nobody's talking about this kid, but Traylon Maddox played at Parkview. I know you know him well, well, Dukes and Bacon. This kid, a monster. I keep saying it. You're going to look in games, and you're going to be in that fourth quarter, and you're going to need a stop. And they're going to just have a battering ram that can go get 7-8 yards easy with a second burst to get to that next level. No one's going to talk about that kid, but you're going to walk up and see, whoa, this kid got 500 yards rushing. How? That kid is explosive. They really like him and the steps he's taking forward. They got a young freshman that played really well, Dukes. 3 months removed from graduating high school. He goes and rushed for 50, 60 yards in the spring game. J.P. Powell, right? That's not even including their veterans. They got Chad Alexander, right? Shane Marshall's coming in. I mean, that room is loaded, and I think it's going to help, obviously, Jamal Haynes stay healthy. He dealt with nagging injuries last year. When you have that, he can stay fresh in that fourth quarter and hit you with that shifty burst, and it's a wrap.
Bacon?
Yeah, for sure. Like the Georgia Tech running back room is like Thanos, you know what I mean? All stones are going to be activated this season. It's going to be interesting to see how they kind of plug and play. Like you got I'm saying lightning, thunder, earthquake. You know what I'm saying water, fire, all the Avatar elements. But it like I reflect back on what Jamal Haynes said not too long ago. Is about he's in his final phase of in preparation of becoming back at the next level. What that means, you know what I mean, is it because when you play at the next level, he's going to be getting a boatload of carries. He got like 5 backs. You can kind of oscillate in and out. So it's going to be interesting to see how that last phase of his game translates. So that's going to be interesting to watch for me this year.
Oh, absolutely. And to speak on Colorado's running back room, I would have to say, like, my prediction is still wide open. My prediction is Dallin Hayden, former Ohio State running back. He was a 4-star coming out of high school out of Tennessee. Um, a guy who also played defense, so he brings some of that mentality while he's running the ball. But I think having Marshall Faulk as a running back coach, somebody who can unlock someone who has such a versatile game. He can beat you between the tackles. He can bounce it outside. He can catch the ball, and he can pass protect. So he was probably, even last year, I felt like he was the most complete back, but he probably needed a little guidance to put it all together. But I think he has a breakout season. Also, you have Michael Welch. You guys are probably familiar with him. State of Georgia, you know what he straight bowling ball, battering around, so to speak. And he's a guy that you really don't want to see in the fourth quarter when especially in that elevation, the altitude that you have in Colorado, when everybody's tired, is a little hot, and then that wind starts to get a little thin. That's the point where you say, you know what, let's give it to the young bulls. So I think Colorado has a really good running back room. They've also got a guy, the Kaylon Taylor. I call him D Taylor because I always mess his name up, but he goes by Trackhawk. Really, really shifty guy. One of those guys that you put him in the phone booth and you can't touch him. So I think they have a lot of different elements in that running back room, and I know I'm missing somebody, but those are the 3 that I'm really looking for to handle the majority of the load. So I think overall right now, Georgia Tech probably has a more well-rounded room based off of what they've been building, but that doesn't mean that you sleep on Colorado's running backs at all. All right, Beckett, I want to start with you on this one. Let's talk about the wide receiver room. Georgia Tech loses Eric Singleton, but basically I heard they got like an Eric Singleton clone to back it up.
Nah, for sure. Eric Rivers just came in from FIU. I like to bring up DeBron Gatlin. I'm saying redshirt freshman for South Carolina. To me, those are going to be the 2 guys that's going to fill that Eric Singleton role. Talking about speed, this is going to get up and down, make explosive plays. Those are going to be 2 to watch for. But outside of him, they got another FIU. I believe it's Patterson, FIU. You know what I'm saying, teammate, a big body guy, right? You know what I'm saying. I think the second highest rated overall transfer receiver coming to Georgia Tech per the game in NCAA. So him, obviously Malik Rutherford. I expect Malik Rutherford and Eric Rivers to really eat that volume, so to speak. So those 4 guys. But my dark horse outside of DeBron Gatlin is going to be Isaiah King, who we all know. Warner Robins. I'll never forget the game that came back against Northside Warner Robins. But just cook. You know what I'm saying? Big body. I think maybe like a Mike Evans, Keenan Allen type of hybrid guy. Real fluid, in and out of his break, strong hands, go up and make grab the ball at the point of attack, and recent transfer DB from Creekside, Daquan White. High praise of a young sophomore wide receiver. So those are going to be my guys to watch. You know what I'm saying, come game time in Boulder for sure.
Got that add
Yeah, I'll throw Bailey Stockton. That name gets glossed over. He just squatted 500 plus pounds, man. This kid came from Prince Avenue Christian, playing with Aaron Philo. But just a guy, just like a Wes Welker, Demi Amendola kind of a player, right? You need a 3rd and 7. You need a 3rd and 10. You need 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. Throwing the ball. He's going to always know where that marker is and get that first down. Also really good in punt return coverage as well. I'll second Bacon's point on Kenyon. That kid is a stud. They've been raving about him. It'd be interesting to see the role he plays because they do a little platoon in and out. They'll do 3 receivers, and then they obviously platoon in new receivers. That's going to be a red zone threat for them, though. 6'4", 220 plus pounds. Oh, Lord. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck with that.
Absolutely, man. Now, that sounds pretty daunting, but I think Colorado is going to be represented well in the wide receiver position. When you talk about a guy like Amarian Miller, somebody who was off to a phenomenal start last year, has an unfortunate injury, returning from injury. Juju Lewis, when he finally got to throw him the ball in the spring, you could tell he was like, okay, this guy is different than anything I've seen, including what he saw back in Georgia. And Juju plays with the best, even trains with athletes first at the Elite Series. He's been throwing the pro wide receiver since he was 14. So to see the high praise that he had for Old Miller, I thought was amazing. But you look at what Colorado was able to do in the transfer portal, bringing in a guy like uh, Sincere Brown, 6'5" guy. I thought he was a 4'5" just based off of some of the things that I saw. But you ever see a tall guy that doesn't look like he's moving as fast as he is, and then you go look at the time and say, bro, this dude just ran a 4'4", 4'3". They say he's one of those type guys, being 6'5". Do you also have a guy like Draylon Miller, who's basically the Debo Samuel last year? You saw him last year, so he can be in the backfield, he can be in the slot. But the sleeper that I think a lot of people are starting to wake up about in Colorado is Joseph Williams from Tulsa. He was all conference, all freshman conference last year at Tulsa. This guy's about 6'1", 6'2". I would say about 6'2", but in the spring game, you can see it. Even in spring practice, he popped on it. And you can watch Well Off Media, the pregame network, Reach the People Media, and you can see what's going on in those practices. This guy had a big catch almost every practice. Very strong hands, goes up and gets the ball, built like a linebacker. So I think that the wide receiver room and not even to mention you got guys like Quentin Gibson. He's the guy who went viral last year for putting hands on the number one receiver, the Corian Moore. Basically, you see this 5'9" guy just putting hands on him at the line of scrimmage as a cornerback. Well, he's actually signed as a wide receiver to Colorado. He basically beat multiple teams by himself almost. So a guy who wasn't super highly rated, but you could just look at the film and it almost looked like Tavon Austin, dog. It's ridiculous. And then Q Farrakhan. I think Farrakhan is another guy. I think he was a 3/4 star, depending on what site you looked at last year. But another freshman receiver that is he's gonna push for playing time. I think even with having 4 NFL wide receivers, when you count Will Shepard, LeJontay Wester, Jimmy Horn, and Travis Hunter last year, from top to bottom, this may be a better room. I don't know if it's more talented, but I mean, from top to bottom, when you go from 1 to 8, the amount of talent that's in this wide receiver room. I mean, now of course, you can't really count Travis Hunter because he's kind of like a corner wide receiver. Let's take Travis Hunter out of it. But outside of that, I think you'll have just as many draft picks eventually out of this group that you had in that last group. So I think Colorado is really, really excited about the wide receiver room. Now we're going to combine tight end and offensive line because they're right there on the line together. I'll start off on this one, then I'll go to Bacon. We'll come back to you, Naj. Right now, I think it's going to be really important. We know that Colorado has an all-world offensive tackle in Jordan Seaton, former 5-star. Seeing his recent pictures, he looks like a pro wrestler, 6'5", basically looks like Debo and Friday. Then you've got more guys that have come in out of the transfer portal. So I think you've got to Colorado right now has about 8 guys for 4 spots. And I think that's a beautiful place to be in. When you have 4 guys who have you have 8 guys who have experience or who have played in programs big enough that you trust them to go out on that first game. And you got to find out who wants it the worst, who really wants to play, who's going to lay it all on the line. And then once you figure out who does that in fall camp, you got to figure that out in the game. So I'm going to say right now, just not exactly knowing who's going to be that 5 that you send out with Jordan Seaton, I think it could change from today. I know who you send out in the spring, but I think that can change in the fall. And I think at tight end, Zach Atkins is going to be a revelation. Somebody that is going to be Juju or Caden Salter's best friend. When you think about the RPO, the first read after you decide to keep it and not run, your first read is usually that tight end in the flat. And this is a guy who's athletic enough to take those 2 and 3 yard hitches and be able to turn them into first down. So I think that's going to be really important. And Georgia Tech is probably going to have eyes on Zach Atkins. Let's go, Bacon.
100%. You know what I'm saying? To add on your point, I think that's going to be very big for the Buffs. When I evaluated the spring game, Caden likes to go. They like to think and dunk. They're going to be big in the run game. They're going to attack more probably east and west and then attack you vertically. I think Tech is going to be more northeast, more northwest. The tight end room, JT Byrne, Belly, and what's his last name? Luke Harping. And there's one more I know Naj is going to cover. But those two, say it again, brother.
Brett Seether.
Those 3, they're going to probably run it by committee. JT Burns probably the more blocking tight end, but they did use them, you know what I'm saying, kind of like a more of an east and west guy, catching little hitches, you know what I'm saying, little digs in the spring game. But look for Luke Harpin, you know what I'm saying, the bust the seams, bust the middle of the field. wide open, man. The kid's a playmaker. Obviously comes from the lineage. His father played Georgia Tech. His sister was these comes to GT. She seems to be more of a power five type girl, but she's representing the basketball name at a high level on the girls' hoop scene as well.
Shout out to Maris High School.
For
Facts,
sure.
100%. Now, good point. I'll start there with obviously Luke Harper and his dad Matt played for obviously Utah Jazz, like you said, rich lineage, of course. But yeah, he's the player that could be a difference maker in this year too for them, right? Obviously, Seether's going to get a lot of snaps. You look at JT Burnover from Wake Forest, but if Luke can stretch that field between the 10 and 15 intermediate part of that field, when people are going and let's say they're doubling, they're playing that cover 3 or cover 4 and taking away that Eric Rivers or Dean Patterson, he could be that guy for Haynes King that he could throw the ball to get 10 to 15 plus yards. So he's a player to kind of watch. Offensive line, it's a little bit different. I've had some Tech fans say they feel like the line is better. I don't know. This team gave up 2 sacks last year and they lost a lot of guys. The only guys they bring back is Joe Fusal, and they bring back obviously all ACC player Keelan Rutledge, right? Other than that, it's new guys, right? Now everybody's amazed with Josh Petty. I don't know. I don't think he was going to start off the bat, right? 5-star. He was obviously an elite player. Peyton Joseph, though, is going to be a name to watch at that right tackle, right? Malachi Carney, obviously out of South Alabama, they added in the portal. And obviously you look at Will Reed, they obviously added out of Princeton. But if Peyton Joseph can continue to do his thing in camp and stand out, he could potentially maybe push those guys for a starting position. You never know. Left tackle will be Ethan McKinney, as we talked about. And then obviously we talked about Fusal. And then Harrison Moore is going to get that right guard spot. So we'll see. I don't know if I can say it's more talented. It's very fresh and new, you know what I'm saying? And new guys and new worlds. So we'll see if it'll be as good as next year, as last year.
Now, I think so. I would say probably when you look at high end talent, I think both teams have a guy. I think Jordan Seaton probably would be the higher of the two at this point. But then when you look at Josh Petty, he has that same pedigree that Jordan Seaton had coming out as a 5-star tackle. And then Big Groovy, Big Groove, shout out to nephew Peyton. Peyton, he's a heck of a ball player, and I think that he's hungry enough and has the size to compete early. So we'll see. I think that's one of those things that you really don't know how each offensive line is going to look until you see the bullets start flying. Let's go. Let's talk about the offense as a whole. So we've covered all the positions. Now let's just talk about the offense. How is Georgia Tech going to attack Colorado in your opinion? Let's go, Najeh.
I think it's similar to what you said. I know obviously it's the elements. I know it's thinner air. But this team, when they was rolling last year, Dukes, they ran that ball 200, 250 yards, right? And they set up play action off that. So I think they're going to try to establish the run early against Colorado. You know, make them have to tackle Jamal Haynes, that deep stable of running backs with Malachi Hosley, the battering ram and Traylon Maddox. And then I think they're going to pinpoint and then just throw deep balls off of that and hit that intermediate part of that field. In my humble opinion, like I said, I could be wrong, but in my humble opinion from seeing this team, I feel like that's how they're going to attack offensively.
What you think, Bacon?
Yeah, I agree. When you look at the receivers they're bringing in, Isaiah Canny, Dean Patterson, big physical receivers, so that you can really run behind. Like I said, when this offense is clicking, they're going to run the ball. But, you know what I mean? I know the air is going to be a little thin. They're playing probably in the evening up there in Boulder. But, I think they might touch maybe 200 through the air. We'll see. I know you got DK out there that's going to be locking it down the airways. But I've seen a lot of Tech ball last year. Now I feel pretty strong in that air raid attack for sure. No disrespect, Colorado fans.
Oh no, I think that's what Colorado was gearing up for, a rushing attack. And I think that what nobody is seeing yet is how Colorado is going to attack. And I think they're going to be a run-heavy team this year. I think with Caden Salter, you're going to see some RPO action. I think you'll see some of that with Julian Lewis too. I think he's underrated as an athlete because he's always been so good with that cannon of an arm that you really never had to see him use his athleticism with his legs as much as probably you would have if he didn't have an arm like he does. But I think now, just based on having to keep defenses honest, I think you will see Julian Lewis, if he's in the game, have some RPO with him. So I definitely think that the mantra this year is run the ball. Last year, you had a battery that included 3 NFL draft picks, one being a Heisman winner, and Shedeur Sanders, who should have been a first-round pick, clearly. So, of course, that lends you to throwing the ball. But I think now you got a nice stable of running backs, and you want to run the ball. And one thing about Coach Prime is you take away the high-end talent that he had last year at those positions. He wants to run the ball. He's a defensive guy at the end of the day. Even though he has a really strong grasp of offense, he played cornerback. he's a guy that knows that what makes it hard on a defense when you can't stop the run. So I think that's where Colorado goes this year. Let's jump right into defense. But before we get into play-by-play, let's go into what kind of defense is Colorado? I mean, excuse me, Georgia Tech. What do they bring to the table? You don't have to say names yet. We'll get into the names. But when you think of Georgia Tech's defense, what do you think of if you had to explain it to people who haven't seen them play? Let's go, Nas.
I think this year is going to be different, right? Obviously, last year they had a great defensive coordinator who's now with the Ravens, right? They bring in Blake Gideon over from Texas. Super excited. I don't want to mention names. We're just going to talk about names that he developed. Michael Taft, all SEC selection, right? Andrew Makuba got drafted by the Eagles in the second round. Janae Barron, best cornerback in college football last year, number 23 overall, picked to Denver, right? Then he comes over now. So I think you're going to see, even though it starts as a 4-2-5, I think you will see this. This will be a multiple defense. And it's exciting because he knows how to develop defensive backs. And I think now with him getting the full controls and that savant of a mind, he's only like 35 years old. Look out. They got a guy that they can build with for some years to come. And I just think you're going to see the elevation of some of these guys. We'll talk about it more. My name, I want to point out real quick, Amari Harvey. I think he's going to flourish under Blake Gideon.
Lamar, shout out, transfer from Auburn.
100%. I agree. I'm on the blitz. I'm not gonna say blitz heavy, but I'm on the like it's gonna be a multiple. But this team, I think they're gonna blitz by like we'll say 45. I'm just guessing, no inside track. But when I look at the personnel, I look at the linebackers. You know, what I'm saying the question marks about this team into the quarterback. I think they blitz a good bit. I think they got the DBs to do it. You just brought up Amari Harvey, and I mean you still got I keep bringing up his name, Daquan White on the outside as well. Mark Daniels, Clayton Powell Lee, NFL prospect on the backside. Tay Harris should see some time at safety. So
Is Shelly back?
He said Shelly.
Yeah, Rodney Shelly.
He there.
Yeah, he's back. He's back. Yeah,
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So you know what I'm saying. It just a team full of misfits with some playmakers sprinkled in, but I think they're gonna be in your face type of defense all year for sure.
Yeah, so with Colorado, I feel like this team is going to be predicated along the defensive line. So we'll just get into the defensive line preview now. I think the biggest thing that Colorado did was to go get Jaheim Otis from the University of Alabama, someone who kind of didn't match what Kalen DeBoer and his defense wanted to do last year. But Nick Saban loved him. He played as a freshman under Saban when he got to Alabama. And anybody that's good enough for Saban is good enough for me. Goes about 6'5", or well over 300 pounds. And I think he's something that Colorado was missing when you talk about being able just to say no when it comes to the line of scrimmage. I think there were times last year when teams gassed Colorado because there wasn't that guy who said, bro, like, listen, the A-gap is closed. Either side, don't matter. The A-gap is closed. And I think this is that guy. I think Colorado last year led the Big 12 in sacks. They were able to get to the quarterback at a phenomenal rate without having to bring a lot of exotic blitzes. I think when you think Amari McNeil is somebody I'm looking forward to have a crazy year. I think that I just saw him working out with Marcus Howard. His body looks good. And then they just have so many players that they can send at you in waves. I think that the difference between the defensive line and the offensive line in Colorado is you got guys who don't have a lot of starts on the offensive line, period. I mean, you got guys who got a lot of starts at Colorado on the offensive line, but not, for Colorado. You've got a lot of guys who have a lot of starts, but not at Colorado. Well, defensive line, you got guys who started at Colorado. These guys have already played together. So I think that having that continuity, those relationships, see how they work together, like I said, by watching Well Off Media reach the people and the pregame network, you can see the synergy that they have. So I think the defensive line is going to be the strength of this Colorado team, and I think they will give problems to the Georgia Tech offensive line. All right, guys, tell me about the Georgia Tech defensive line. Let's go with Bacon.
So on the defensive line, man, you got a lot. Like we talk Georgia Tech offensive line, you got to talk Jordan Vanderberg. You know what I'm saying, the big bear in the middle. We just squatted 600 pounds the other day, Najeh. Well, something close to it. So you know what I'm saying, got him on the defensive line as well. I mean, you got a transfer from Clemson. His name escapes me right now, but comes in as let's say a second chance type of guy, you know what I'm saying? From Georgia. AJ Harvard, right from Woodward Academy. Comes in, not seeing a lot of success at Clemson, but what better place to do it than coming back home, playing in Atlanta, playing in front of your fans, or family. So get the ball rolling. You sprinkle in 3 sacks. I think Jordan can get you at least 4 or 5. So that's 8 right there. You know what I'm saying? Also, another young man coming in from UT, I believe San Antonio. So that team's on the rise as well. So this in college football. So coming in, I believe, as the highest rated defensive line member. Another box that you check, you know what I'm saying, coming over from, you know what I'm saying, the transfer portal. So is it going to be a unit? You know what I'm saying, that's a big splash? No, but I think, like I said, guys in Memphis, can't forget Christian Garrett coming in from Prince Ave, was committed to Georgia, a big flip for them. So it's going to be a mix of youth, you know what I'm saying, and experience, but I think it's all going to mesh well over time.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd say for me, man, this is the make or break position for me this year for Georgia Tech. It's the defensive line, right? They would bring nearly dead last in sacks. You got to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. Top 40 unit on run defense, which obviously credit at to Jordan Vandenberg. He is their star on defense, but you got to get after the quarterback, right? Who is that going to be? Braden Manley was a SoCon Defensive Player of the Year, FCS All-American. That's the one I have circled. They need somebody to create pressure. Andre Fuller from Grayson. He had a couple pressures in the spring game. Can he step up and be big? They got Kilo Stone from Ole Miss. Can he contribute early? He started his career with Georgia Tech. Ronald Triplin was the guy you were talking about, Bacon with UTSA, right? Him coming over. Matthew Alexander's another one, right, from UCF. Can he come in and contribute as well? So it's just out of that collection, can you get enough sacks and pressure on the quarterback? That's an area they struggle with. Maybe it's different with Blake Gideon. Maybe they throw more exotic looks and they bring different pressure packages to help. But that's going to be the position I'm kind of watching.
All right, I love it. Let's go linebacker, and let's start with Bacon.
So the linebacker position, man, a guy I'm real high on. This transfer did not too long ago from let's see if we get his name. His name is Caden Spratling. I can't remember what school he came from, but a guy that's very multiple. What I'm saying was one of the players today that they focused on coming from his school. You know what I'm saying? Real versatile. A guy come off the edge. He played at Miller Grove, if you remember his name. Come off the edge, he come down here, hit you in the mouth. Then you got you know what I'm saying, number 44. Help me out now. What's his name? Kyle Eifert. Kyle Eifert, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Known for his neck roll, you know what I'm saying? Come down, smack you in the face. But you know what I'm saying, real versatile. He's got pretty good hips. You know what I'm saying? We saw him pick up a ball last year, a couple years ago against Kate Klubnik. Who else we got on in the linebacker core?
EJ Lightsey.
EJ Lightsey, you know what I'm saying?
EJ Lightsey still there?
He's still there.
Last year, right?
Wow, from UGA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, when you talk about a dog in high school, there aren't a lot of better guys who got better. There aren't a lot of guys who have better high school film than EJ Lightsey.
No, there ain't.
Absolutely.
For
and
sure.
You got Melvin Jordan, you know, captain coming from Oregon State, who to me, when you bring in the captain, you know, see that just shows the IQ, the savviness that he has. I believe he had over 60 tackles last year. So that it's just compound interest of, I think, reliable guys that you're going to need, you know what I'm saying, over a long course of the season. It's going to be a physical season. You see Coach Blake Gideon's bringing in the identity, the mentality that Coach Keys implements on his team. We're going to be tough. I say we're going to come down here. We're going to come at you. And I think it starts in the trenches, the front seven. I think the linebacker group, again, checks that box for Georgia Tech.
Love it.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'll just say really good unit overall, led by EJ Lightsey. Kyle Eifert, kind of your old school linebacker. Comes downhill, plays really well in the box. The key area they struggled, Dukes, was in pass. It was basically in defending the pass, right? They were not good last year. Tight ends and slot receivers let them up. I go back to Elijah Arroyo last year. When they played Miami, he went off. You go back to Syracuse, Ford Gaskin lit him up for 2 touchdowns. Trevor Pena in the slot lit him up as well for 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving. So can they be better at that spot? The name I have that could be kind of a wild card is Taj Butler. He'll be a sophomore this year, freshman last year. Seen time, he obviously comes from Louisiana. He could be that guy for them in those third down, those drop back situations that can get pressure on the quarterback and speed him up, leading to negative plays. So that's the name I kind of got circled as a guy that could be a difference maker.
I love it. I think Colorado, their linebacker room was basically transfers, just to be honest. You got Martavius French, who came in. I think he was out of high school. He was a 4-star. And I think one thing that Colorado has, and I would love to go back and do the research and find out what their blue chip percentage is, because they've got a lot of guys who may have been at other schools that didn't get the chance they were looking for, that needed a fresh start. and they've gone to other schools in some cases, like a Caden Salter, who was at Tennessee, and Martavius French, who was at Tennessee with Salter, came out in that class. Now they've grown older. They got I call guys. I said now they got their mustaches. Older guys, veterans, somebody that you got to respect in the locker room. And so now you got a guy like you got a guy like French, who I think has already endeared himself to the locker room. Had a great spring. He's going to play a lot. You've got Reggie Hughes, who's done the same thing. He literally is like one of the most well put together linebackers that I think you'll see. They both run and hit. But I think the key to this unit is going to be a guy, a real sleeper pick from North Alabama, a guy by the name of Sean Myers. I think when you have really rangy guys who can fly around, you want somebody to kind of be that old school, traditional green dot. Hey, everybody get in line. I'm gonna come hit you in the mouth. I'll meet you in the gap. I don't care about my own well-being. That's Sean Myers. So I think with that three, those are the three that you'll see going out there first. Of course, you got some freshmen that you got to be excited about, but I think those are the three that you see, and I'm excited to see what they do. So we got to finish off with the secondary. I'll start Colorado. It's probably going to go with 5 DBs more than not, like basically like the same 4-2-5 look that a lot of teams run. Usually, you go with 3 safeties or a nickel. So I believe Preston Hodge will be back, played a ton. He should be coming back from injury, missed a lot of time in the spring. So I think Preston Hodge is that guy in the nickel who has really good experience. But you also have other guys. They brought in so many guys in the secondary that you'll be able to mix and match. I think your stud in that room is going to be DJ McKinney. He's already popping up on first round pick as a first round pick on multiple mock drafts. He's the guy when you think about NFL potential for the 2026 draft. He's the guy that you start with. Great size, and you saw him make a ton of plays last year. And I think now that all you're just looking for is to see that immense talent being put together on a consistent basis with some discipline. And I think he'll be one of the best in the country and has a shot at the Thorpe Award. When you go back and you look at the other side, Colson Hood was a guy that everybody was looking forward to seeing. Unfortunately, he transferred, but while he missed time in the spring, you got to see R.J. Johnson. I know you guys remember him out of Eagles Landing, originally signed with Arkansas. Goes about 6'1.5", 6'2", great size, great length, got some really good tutelage from Coach Prime. So I think now even though they brought in a guy like Tion Parks, who's had a ton of experience, a really good transfer, and they brought in multiple guys who have a ton of starts already. I don't think I'm ready to cede that position to a transfer yet, because I think R.J. Johnson has a really great toolbox, and if he can put it all together, he could be the guy that you run out there first. But you have 3 good options that you can run out there first at that other corner. At safety, you've got guys who've been there, who've been in this Rob Livingston defense. A guy like Ben Finesse is one. His name is Finesses, I think. But when I talked to him, he loves Future, so I said, "Can I call you Finesse?" He said, "Cool." So I'm gonna call him Ben Finesse. And but I think a guy who's a sleeper in that room is Terrence Love from Langston Hughes, transfer from Auburn. T. Love is at Colorado now. You guys are very familiar with him. 6'2.5", almost 6'3", built like a linebacker, will come down and hit you and can run. Had a really good spring in Auburn. A lot of people thought he may have had the best spring of any safety in Auburn. A numbers game that didn't work out, a la Colton Hood. Colton Hood, the exact same thing they said about Colton Hood the year before he goes to Colorado and balls out. This is the same thing they said about Terrence Love, so I'm looking forward to him having a big year. And Tawfiq Bayard is another guy that they're really excited about in Colorado. The younger brother of Kevin Bayard, the all-pro safety in the NFL. He's a guy who's very cerebral, a transfer that came in, ready to play, hit the ground running. And when you talk to other members of that secondary, they're really excited about him. And I think that you'll see this year, I think more than you'll see a lot of the secondary coming down and run support. I think they've got a lot of bigger bodies out there who are going to be able to support you and run in the run game. And you've got guys who can run so they can stay on the roof while other guys come down and support in the box. All right, let's go Najeh for the Georgia Tech secondary.
Yeah, man. This group is talented, and I'm just going to start real quick, if you don't mind, Deuce, on the recruiting aspect, right? this class, they've just been recruiting at an elite level, right? You go get Dalen Pinson, a blue chip recruit, obviously out of Sandy Creek, right? USC was pushing hard for him. You end up being able to land him. You flip Tay Harris, who's another blue chip recruit that really headlined this class in 2025. 2026 is the same thing. I know they won't play for another year. Jaden Terry from Manchester, dog. Ball skills just out of this world, right? And then they got Travis Stevenson, who's gotten bumped up from Brooks County. You know what I'm saying? He's a blue chip recruiter across 247, and then obviously across rivals, right? And this unit is just so good, right? Omar Daniels, veteran presence, right? You got Clayton Powley, like Bacon said, NFL prospect, I think potentially, definitely day 2, day 3 pick. He's that good. And then you look at the freshman, Tay Harris, to be able to come in and give you good minutes. We'll see. He could be that slot nickel guy that could come down and also play around. It was moving them all over in the spring, right? Then you got Daquan White, Kelvin Hill, and obviously got Jai Gilmore all competing for spots. Gilmore was a transfer, obviously. Then you had obviously Daquan White from Eastern Michigan, was an All-American during his freshman campaign in his season. He's hungry. Kelvin Hill started 10 starts at UAB. He's ready for his moment as well. And you got Rodney Shelley at the other cornerback position, locking it down. That nickel spot, I think, though, is open, Duke. So we'll see who emerges there. But then on the other side, I think he's the top cornerback in the ACC. Call me crazy, but Amari Harvin, I'm going to put my money on him, man. I think he's that guy, and more people didn't put some respect on his name.
Amari too saucy. Shout out to Amari. Yes, sir.
100% definitely shout out to Big Mari, but you know what I'm saying, a real one, brother, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, Nas pretty much said everything. When you look at Georgia Tech's possible DB room, you know what I'm saying, it's hard not to like you know what I'm saying, Jai Gilmore from Penn State. You know what I'm saying, we all know what that secondary did last year. So that's a guy we're gonna kind of, I guess, you know what I'm saying, you give the other nod to at the nickel position, but another name I've said all night, Daquan White, I think he's probably, you know what I'm saying, top 2, you know what I'm saying, if not one at knocking down the door to get that position. You know what I'm saying, Kelvin Hill, impressive freshman season at UAB. So, you know, Dalen Pensy, you know what I'm saying, people forget, you know what I'm saying, triple champion in the triple jump, you know what I'm saying, at GHSC level. We all know what type of athletes per capita Georgia puts out every year. So just the athletes that you see at Georgia Tech, especially in the secondary position, you know what I'm saying, it's you know what I mean, it's amazing, you know what I'm saying? So when you look at just the recruiting battle across the state, Georgia Tech continues, you know what I'm saying, to check these boxes. I mean, keep that thing, checking these boxes. So, you know what I'm saying, let's keep that in mind, you know what I'm saying, as you watch the Yellow Jackets, not just, you know what I'm saying, the first game of the season, ladies and gentlemen.
Real quick, I just want to get your thoughts on this, Dukes. Both of them was clocked at 20 miles per hour just this offseason. Dalen Pinson and Tay Harris. They both were battling. Just their friendly competition. I think Tay Harris beat him by a couple milliseconds, but 23 and 22. I mean, really impressive for your DBs running like that. And then they got a guy, Will Kiker, that squatted over 630 pounds. Tay Harris 500. Dalen Pinson 425. We got DB squatting big numbers like that. That's crazy.
No, absolutely, man. And Tay, I remember when Tay ran that 4.3 at Under Armour, and everybody knows that Under Armour is notoriously guilty of having slow times. That's what they say, hey, man, you know, when you get Under Armour, the times are a little slower. And I think for Tay Harris to go out there and run 4.3, you know what he's about. Probably the biggest recruit outside of Job. And arguably, some people thought that he may have been a bit, of course, offensive line was a huge deal, but to have somebody committed to Clemson, somebody that Georgia wanted, this is not a guy who was an SEC reject. He chose Georgia Tech, and I think that was big for Tech. Man, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun, but now we got to get to the nitty gritty. I'll start. I got Colorado. I'm gonna go 28-21. I think it's a closer game. And I think Colorado gets a late touchdown to put the game out of reach very late, but I think it's a close game the whole way. And I think they break one in the fourth quarter, maybe a couple minutes left, and that's how they win the game. You guys give me your prediction on the Georgia Tech-Colorado game.
Go ahead, Baker.
First, I'll say this, man. I've been watching all the behind the scenes content on Well Off Media and For the People, so I've been seeing them. You know what I'm saying? They've been running, getting these guys in shape, especially in that thin air. So, you know what I'm saying? It's tough. It's tough for me not to give the nod to the home team, but I cover the Jackets, so I'm gonna ride with them. I'm gonna say,
You can't say that, bro.
I mean,
no, you can't say that. You can't say that. I'm just joking.
28-24, man. I'm gonna say 28-24. It just, So Coach Key, I'm not taking anything from Coach Prime. They both get their guys to believe in them, but I think it's going to come to more familiarity with the Jackets. But I will say, as a Yellow Jackets reporter, as an observer and a part-time fan, I'm definitely nervous for the Jackets to go up there to Boulder. I will say that.
Nice.
I'm going to go 31-24, one touchdown game. I think it's just the opposite. I think Tech goes down, puts the game out of reach. They get a good possession. Haynes King drives them down. They end off with a touchdown. They leave week one with a 1-0 record out of Boulder. But I think more people, what's going to happen, my humble opinion, Dukes, a lot of people sleep on Colorado in this team and obviously Coach Prime. But I think they're going to show a lot of people that day, hey, despite me not having my son, despite me not having generational talent, I know how to bring the right coaches in. I know how to bring in the right personnel, and I get this team to play at a high level. And I think more people are going to put some respect on his name this year, especially if they go and they make a run and they get to a Big 12 title game, things like that, and they're competitive. You can't do nothing but respect because everyone's, they don't have no talent, don't have no personnel. Coach Prime know how to coach, and people need to learn and they need to know that.
Man, it's been a pleasure, guys. Go ahead, Bacon. You have something?
Yeah, I just want to ask you real quick. I wanted to ask you this early. You know what I'm saying? You hinted at a little bit about Julian Lewis. Seeing sometimes, do you think they'll kind of go back and forth to a certain extent of the quarterback situation?
I think I wouldn't say back and forth, but I think whoever doesn't win, I have a package. So I think the winner is going to be the winner, but I think whoever is the secondary guy, he's going to have a package. So I think either way it goes, you're going to see both quarterbacks. I just think they're both too talented, and they just provide two different threats. And so I do think that there's a world where both of these guys play.
Gotcha. Sure. Appreciate that insight, brother.
All right. So look, where can we find you? Bacon, you just had a phenomenal interview with Rodney. Rodney Coates, a New Colorado linebacker. You got it. You were actually at the event. Doesn't get any more exclusive than that. Where can everybody find you on social media, and where can they find your YouTube?
For sure, man. You can find me on Twitter at Bacon like the country might eat in the morning, pork network like cartoon LLC on Twitter, Instagram just Bacon Network. Same thing on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, which is where our platform where we showcase individuals, outstanding individuals, culture, athletes, and extraordinary individuals that not only, that you like, but they inspire you, to enrich success in yourself. So definitely tap in with us. It's going up to the moon, and we appreciate Brother Dukes, the OG, the mentor for having us on. So thank you, brother.
Too much love. Najeh?
Yeah, man, y'all know where to find me, man. At Najeh Wilk, NAJEH WILK, man, on all social media platforms. And make it easy. I'm on Instagram, I'm on X, I'm on TikTok, and I'm on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And as we said on our channel, man, y'all go show Duke some love, man. This is one of the best ones in the game, man. And for real, he's really a mentor for me, for Bacon, and all of the brothers across the way, man. I mean, call him, and he always going to give you that insight and keep it 100, keep it 1,000 with you. He's one of the 100%. Best ones in the game, man. I can't say how much he means to me, man, in my support, in my journey. So y'all know what to do, man. Y'all run up this channel, man. Duke's the Scoop, man. One of the best in the country.
Hey, man, look. I mean, I'm not paying y'all, so y'all ain't gotta say all that, bro. But it's all good, I mean, I ain't got the money, so I know y'all thinking. I know y'all be thinking, got the check. Don't got the check, so you ain't got to say all that. No, I'm just kidding, man. I appreciate the kind words, man. It's fun, man. I'm proud of y'all. Keep striving, keep going, man, and hopefully y'all be able to hire me soon for sure.
I love that.
Right? I love that.
Nah, for sure, man. Hey, man, everybody, man, too much love. And if you at home or if you listening in your car, make sure y'all make it home with somebody at home who love you. Too much love. See y'all soon.